In ancient China, during the Warring States period, when kingdoms fought each other and philosophers argued about how the world should be ordered, one man refused to take any of it seriously. His name was Zhuangzi, and he laughed. He was born around 360 before Christ in the state of Song. He worked briefly as a minor official, a keeper of lacquer trees, and then walked away from public life forever. He preferred to fish, to think, to wander, to write strange and beautiful stories that nobody could quite explain. When the king of Chu offered him a position of high government, Zhuangzi sent back a message. He said, "I have heard there is a sacred tortoise that has been dead 3,000 years, kept in the temple wrapped in silk. Do you think the tortoise would rather be dead and honored or alive, dragging its tail in the mud?" The messengers said, "Alive in the mud, surely." Zhuangzi said, "Go away then. I too will drag my tail in the mud." One night, Zhuangzi dreamed he was a butterfly. He was a butterfly, fluttering freely, completely happy, not knowing he was Zhuangzi. Then he woke up, and he asked himself the question that has puzzled people for 2,000 years. Am I Zhuangzi who dreamed he was a butterfly? Or am I a butterfly now, dreaming I am Zhuangzi? This was not a riddle without an answer. The answer for Zhuangzi was, it does not matter. Human beings and butterflies, all things flow from the same source. We call ourselves this and not that, but these boundaries are invented. Between the butterfly and the man, there is what he called the great transformation, the endless flow of life into new forms, none more real than another. Everything is connected. Everything changes. The mushroom of a morning does not know the alternation of day and night. But the universe does not care about morning and night. It flows through all of it equally. Zhuangzi saw the world not as a collection of separate things, but as one vast river of transformation, and he floated on it, lighter than anyone. One of Zhuangzi's most famous stories is about a cook. Prince Hui's cook was butchering an ox. Every movement was perfect, his knife gliding through the joints without effort, making a sound like music. The prince watched in amazement and asked, "How do you do this?" The cook said, "I work with my mind, not my eyes. I follow the natural structure of the ox." The cook continued, "A good cook changes his chopper once a year because he cuts. An ordinary cook changes it once a month because he hacks. But my chopper has lasted 19 years because I work with the Tao, the natural way of things. I find the spaces where things naturally come apart. I do not force anything." This is what Zhuangzi meant by flowing with the Tao, not struggling against the nature of things, but moving with it. Zhuangzi told another story about a carpenter who passed a huge, ancient oak tree. The carpenter ignored it. It was useless for building. Its wood too gnarled. That night the tree appeared in the carpenter's dream and said, "You call me useless. But look at the fruit trees and useful timber. They are cut down before their time. My uselessness is what has kept me alive for 1,000 years." Zhuangzi believed that what the world calls useless is often the most free. When Zhuangzi's wife died, his friend Huizi came to offer condolences and found Zhuangzi sitting on the ground, singing, beating time on a bowl. Huizi was shocked. He said, "She lived with you, raised your children, grew old with you. Is it not enough that you do not weep? Must you actually sing?" Zhuangzi answered, "When she first died, do you think I did not grieve? But then I thought about her beginning. Before she was born, she had no form. Before she had form, she had no spirit. Before she had spirit, she was mixed in with the great undifferentiated mass of existence. Then something changed, and she had life. Now something has changed again. She has returned. It is like the progression of the 4 seasons. She is resting in a vast room. Why should I weep and wail and pretend she has gone somewhere worse? When Zhuangzi himself was dying, his students wanted to give him a grand burial with all the proper rites. He stopped them. He said, "I shall have heaven and earth for my coffin, the sun, moon, and stars for my jade and pearls. All creation will escort me to the grave. What more could I ask?" The student said, "But master, we are afraid the birds will eat you." Zhuangzi laughed and said, "Above ground, the birds eat me. Below ground, the worms eat me. Why do you prefer the worms?" Zhuangzi told this story. If you're crossing a river in a boat and an empty boat drifts into you, you feel no anger. It is just the current. But if there's a man in that boat, you shout at him, you blame him, you get angry. The difference, said Zhuangzi, is not in the boat. It is in you. Anger comes from the belief that someone did this to you on purpose. Most of what troubles us in life is like that. We are angry at the current for moving. For Zhuangzi, freedom was not the freedom to do whatever you want. It was the freedom from needing things to be different from how they are. The fish is free in water. The bird is free in the sky. Each thing is free when it follows its own nature. A human being is free when they stop fighting the current, when they stop demanding that the world be other than it is, and simply move with it like water finding its own path. Zhuangzi wrote nothing systematic. No rules, no moral codes, no instructions for society. Just stories, strange, funny, beautiful stories about cooks and carpenters, about butterflies and ancient trees, about death and transformation. 2,000 years after his death, people still read him and find something they cannot find anywhere else. The permission to stop taking everything so seriously. The permission to laugh. He left us with one question that has no final answer. He left us asking, once upon a time, I dreamed I was a butterfly. Now I am awake. But am I a man who dreamed he was a butterfly, or a butterfly who is now dreaming he is a man? Between a man and a butterfly, there is necessarily a barrier. The transition is called the Great Transformation. That question, that openness, that willingness to not know, is perhaps the greatest gift he gave us. Once upon a time, I dreamed I was a butterfly. Zhuangzi, China, approximately 360 to 280 before Christ.